If you're in a position now where you are uncertain whether or not you want to go to university, I'm going to break down everything you need to consider. I think choosing whether or not you go to university can be one of the harder decisions you have to make in your life. But through this video, I'm going to show you how to make it very, very easy to make your choice, because there are positives of university and there are negatives. There's also opportunity cost, other things that you could do. I've put them all together so you can weigh up what scenario you're in and figure out what's the best course of action for you. How do you find the quickest way to success? Is it university? Is it getting a job? Is it an apprenticeship? Is it entrepreneurship? I'm going to run you through it all. So boys, let's get into it. But before we do, if you're currently feeling nervous, unconfident, anxious, if you find it hard to talk to women, you can't lose fat very easily or gain muscle, in the modern day, there's a lot of things that destroy our testosterone levels. A lot of men are suffering from very low testosterone. I had the same problem. I used natural methods, training, nutrition, supplements to triple my testosterone. I've put it all in a course for you. Links in the description, and you also get added to our Gorilla Tribe. Chat with other like-minded guys, talk about how to increase your testosterone, how to date, how to talk to women, how to make money online. It's all in the course. So boys, if you want to sign up, links in the description. But let's get straight into the video. I actually decided to go because I was at a point in my life where I was feeling fairly lost. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew I had to move out of the house. I knew I couldn't stay in the house with my parents any longer. We were just clashing heads. It was not a good mix, so I needed to do something. Thank God for my mum, because she actually put me forwards to go to university. I never applied or signed up. She did the forms for me. But I had a place at Bournemouth University, so I decided to go. It ended up being one of the most transformative experiences of my life, but for a variety of different reasons that are not totally related to the education. So to start, in terms of actual education, it was a 1 out of 10. I went to do film at Bournemouth University and the course was absolute trash. It was stuff that was 10 years out of date. It was taught in these long PowerPoint slides, nothing like my incredibly creative and easy to watch PowerPoints. These were very boring and you had to sit through a lesson for ages and watch them. I'm a quick learner. I like to do things quickly. So I think in terms of that film course, it was a fairly worthless degree, delivered very badly. The education part was terrible. And for that reason, I did my first semester or first few months, went to a few lectures, and then I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. This is trash. So I stayed at university, but I started working instead. So in terms of actual education experience, for my particular course, it was trash. It was written off. It was not good. However, in terms of social experience, it was a very transformative time in my life. It taught me so much about myself. But the reason for this was because when I went to university, I was surrounded by everything bad that you can possibly do. All the drugs, all the alcohol, all the women, all the fast food, pretty much anything, any sort of source of pleasure, you'll get it at university and you don't have a lot of things to worry about. I was working as well at the time. I went straight into sales, so I had money, my accommodation was paid for, I was surrounded by drugs and alcohol. So I managed to dig myself into a fairly deep hole, taking drugs, drinking, getting in trouble. However, that taught me a lot about myself. I had life lessons along the way and it taught me a lot about myself. So university for me was really a car crash. It threw me into the real world. I went out there and worked on my own and I did everything bad you possibly could. And luckily, I learned from these mistakes within a year. Within 1 year, 2 years, I'd learned from these mistakes and started to make changes in my life. So for that, I'm thankful because I changed a lot over those years. I think I had to get it out of my system and it made me a better man because of it. Now, another one I've put down is entrepreneurship. When you're at university, and certainly for me, I got involved in entrepreneurship challenges. I was around other like-minded males. So I actually ended up making my first business called UniClean, where we cleaned student accommodation at the end of the year. Made some decent money on it for our age with a business partner of mine and started to learn my first few things about business. So all in all, my university experience was good, not for the education, but for the things it taught me in life and the position it put me in terms of out of my comfort zone, out of the family home, and I never moved home again after that first year at university. So it's a great way to turn into a responsible adult, a responsible young man. If you're in a position now where you are uncertain whether or not you want to go to university, I'm going to break down everything you need to consider. What you need to look at is the costs and whether the education puts you into bad debt. So first thing, look at the cost and look at the payback. Is this a government loan? Has this got something like the English system where you don't have to pay it all back if you don't earn enough money? Or is it like the American system where this is a huge amount of money and you absolutely have to pay it back, and you can get yourself into serious financial difficulty with this loan. If you are in America and you don't get a scholarship, you can't go for free. Do not go to university. It is not worth the money. Trust me. There's not many jobs that you can do that are going to allow you to pay that sort of loan back. The only time it might be worth it is if you were to go into law, maybe medicine, things that you have to go to university for that are going to make you a very good salary in the future. Apart from that, do not take out that loan. Do not go. I'm going to give you 3 very good alternatives later on in this video. If you get a scholarship, it is free. Therefore, you get a free experience to go and leave the house, meet other people, learn life lessons, move away from home. It's a very positive thing, and you get a lot of time for yourself, so you can learn other things at the same time. You could take on an online course. You could build an online business. If you have a scholarship, it's definitely worth looking at. So look at the country that you're in. Are you on a scholarship or are you paying for it? Is it good debt or is it bad debt? Is it debt you have to pay back and you can default on? Or is it debt that the government will take care of if you don't earn enough money? If your mum and dad are paying for your degree, that capital is available to you whether you go to university or not. So let's say you've got a college fund. They've put $150,000 away for you to go to university. That money could be spent on anything. And that's a very, very good start for an investment portfolio, for high ticket mentors. You could learn an incredible amount for that amount of money, or start and fail multiple businesses. You could travel the world. I think if you have the option to take the money or go to university, take the money, because you're going to be able to use that for anything. You just need to put together a good case to your parents. You need to sit down with them. You need to tell them exactly what you want to do with that money. You need to build a case for it. You need to pitch it to them why this is going to be better than university, because they're probably not going to just give you that money. They probably want you to go. They probably have some sort of thing in their mind where they're thinking, well, he has to go. Everyone who's successful goes. They've got this false idea in their mind. So you may have to sit down, look at the options with them. But if you've got access to that sort of capital, I would not spend it on higher education. I would spend it starting businesses, failing businesses, and learning through that type of way, or traveling the world and learning that way. Let's say it's free for you, you've got a scholarship, or it doesn't put you in bad debt. That's the only times you should be looking at this option. So if in before it's going to put you in bad debt, it's going to cost you too much, you're not going to university, wait for the alternatives at the end of this video. But if you are thinking now of going, there's still a decision to make, even if it's free and it doesn't put you in bad debt. So first of all, the positives, the benefits of going to university. You can get a degree in a profession that can make you good money, like law, chemistry, medicine, computer science. You could get a good degree and get a very good job, stack cash, and it's not going to cost you anything. You have lots of spare time when you're at university, so it's a good place to go and live, meet people, build a business, develop yourself, go to the gym. As long as you don't get too tied up in the drugs and alcohol of it, you could make a pretty decent start in life. It's a very good way to leave home. I think every man should leave home, become independent. It's a great way to leave home. It's the guided way to leave home and become an independent man without it being too scary. It's a great social experience. You'll learn a lot about yourself. You'll learn a lot about other people when you go to university. It's good for entrepreneurship. If you find the right people there, you can start businesses. And also, you don't have to finish. I spent 1 year and then I dropped out because I'd gained what I needed to gain. I'd moved away from home and I found a higher paying job that I could do myself, and I went about things my own way. What are you giving up to go to university? There's lots of partying, drugs and alcohol. It can become a very dark hole. I fell into it. If you don't learn from it, it can seriously screw you up for life. So if you're into partying, drugs and alcohol, you have an addictive personality, I can almost guarantee university you're going to get into it, and it's going to be hard for you to get yourself out. It's a pretty negative environment in terms of the partying, the drugs and the alcohol. It can be 4 years completely wasted. It would take me 1 year of hard study to learn any 4-year program, I'm pretty sure. Especially the film. It could have just been condensed into 1 year. The way they teach, it's all outdated. It's fucking ridiculous the way that they teach you things at university. So you could learn it a lot faster. Also, you become the 5 people you spend the most time with. If you spend time with 5 poor students scrounging for money, smoking weed every day, that are not really that focused on their degree, not focused on doing anything else, just using it as a free ride, you will end up like them. So that can be also something to consider. Mind your social circle when you go to university. Also, the 4 years can give you a false sense of security. If you don't believe your life's fully started, if you just mess around and then you move back in with your parents afterwards, that can be a big waste. These 4 years should be used to set your life up, not to go backwards. What are the alternatives? What are the things you should consider? Number one, you don't have to go to university if you want to move out of your parents' house. If you've got an outgoing personality, entrepreneurship type person, you've got good friends around you, you're all sort of hungry for money, you want to start a business, there's no reason why you guys can't get 9-to-5 jobs, move all into a house together and just make it a fucking competitive powerhouse of fucking alphas, going gym, hitting business, hitting work, getting money, getting paid, and make it a success together. You've got 4 years to make it a success whilst everyone else is not earning much money and they're at university. Consider that. Number two gets overlooked so much, but the majority of young people I know that are making decent money, 100k a year, are in a trade. Good builders, bricklayers, electricians, plumbers, scaffolders can make a fortune. Not only when they're working, but also with their ability to start their own businesses. Especially in the UK, these trades are really needed. So I've met a lot of them that are doing 6 months of the year working hard in the UK, 6 months of the year living in tropical paradise, places like Thailand. Not a bad way to spend your life. 6 months, half your life on holiday, half your life on vacation, really is not a bad deal. So consider learning a trade. If you're not the smartest academically, if you're not the smartest with online stuff, there is absolutely no problem with learning a trade and going the traditional way, starting a business that way. You don't have to do what everybody else is doing. Number three, work in the industry that you actually want to go into. Because working at the bottom of the ladder can be very beneficial compared to a degree, especially in hard to break through industries, media, TV, film, music. Do not go to university to do these things, because although it might be fun and you might get to be creative, your chances of success when you then go into the real world are still very, very low. You don't really find people looking for runner jobs on movies, basic jobs in music, that are looking whether you have a degree or not. They really don't care. So you would have been better off starting at the bottom rung of the ladder at 18 years old, and now 4 years later being 22 and have moved up considerably within the industry, learning from the masters, learning on the job, all whilst earning money. You will be miles ahead of graduates in 4 years, whereas they'll be coming out into the same jobs you started at 18. So that is my opinion on the working in the industry. Go through that presentation, consider all the factors that I've put in place, and that should help you come to a position where you now have a much better idea of whether university is right for you as a young man, or whether you might want to go through some of these other alternatives or any other alternative that maybe I haven't mentioned. So I hope that's helped you, boys. It's been a highly requested video, so I had to put it on there, and I'll see you boys on the next one. Whoop-ow, 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 whoop-ow.